Good evening, Belize. Tonight, women's health collides with politics as access to contraception lands in policy tug-of-war. Controversial state grant project resurfaces with a new name and bold promises for Olo Caye. The Prime Minister hails a major expansion at the port of Belize, calling it an economic turning point. A missing teenager is found dead, his body riddled with bullets, leaving a family searching for justice. And bus operators ask for fuel relief, but government says not yet. These stories and much more start now.
Here are some interesting facts. Did you know the national ID is a unique number that connects your record across ministries? Trusted proof of identity. A tool to access public service faster. A gateway to digital government services. And a way to eliminate online fraud and identity theft.
The Belize National ID.
Welcome back and thanks for joining us. Tonight, a policy change from the Ministry of Health and Wellness is putting women's health and access to medication at the center of a national debate. New regulations now require prescriptions for drugs once sold over the counter, including contraceptives, a move officials say protects public safety. But critics warn could reverse decades of progress in reproductive rights. News 5's Shane Williams reports on why many are sounding the alarm.
A movement to tighten control over medication use is now touching off a wider social debate about access to health care and reproductive rights. The Ministry of Health's plan to require prescription for certain medicines, including contraceptives, is raising concern among advocates who say it could make family planning even harder, especially for women already facing barriers. For the Belize Family Life Association, the country's leading family planning agency, the moment feels all too familiar, and it's prompting renewed concern about hard-won progress.
I reflect on the existence of BFLA and how BFLA came about in 1985. And it was basically to respond to the issue of adolescent pregnancy. And now, 40 years later, for us to be faced with a situation where we can find some girls and young women, and as well as older women, find themselves in a similar position and maybe even worse. Having access to contraceptives, easy access, is a part of empowerment and giving individuals, especially young girls and women, the opportunity to make decisions and to maintain that level of autonomy over their bodies.
The opposition argues that the policy misses the reality on the ground. With more than half of Belize's population living in rural areas, access to doctors is already limited.
We believe that as women, we all want to have the right to choose, freedom of choice. And as women of Belize, we all want to feel safe. And a part of being safe is for us to have the autonomy over our body, for us to be able to choose when we want to have children and with whom. And for a Belize City woman who has her doctor scheduled appointment yearly. She has transportation set. This new policy position might be an inconvenience for her, but for a rural woman in Belize, a woman who doesn't have a set job, for the woman who may be living in domestic violence situation, this new policy of the government is actually going to stop them. It's actually going to prevent them from accessing contraceptives, which is very important for her safety.
On this issue, the Prime Minister agrees with the opposition, warning that while drug misuse must be addressed, a one-size-fits-all policy may not work for Belize.
No, Belize no. Coming to Belize now, I do agree that we just can't follow everything that a developed country does. We need to be able to make adjustments to our needs. On the issue of birth control, of course, you know, I get it last night when Rosanna saw it and she was like, what's wrong with you when it comes to contraceptives, because it's important to make this easy for women to avoid unwanted pregnancies, and I agree with her. We need to sit down with the Ministry of Health to talk about it and see how best we could navigate around.
Burke says the consequences of inaction could be severe. For many women, a prescription doesn't just mean a doctor's visit. It means time off from work, travel, and added cost.
I can see an increase in adolescent and teen pregnancy. I can see an increase in maternal death. I can see an increase in deaths due to unsafe and clandestine abortion. And so that's my reaction. I know it's quite a bit, but ever since I heard of this decision, I'm having sleepless nights, because I can just see more and more women and girls, so more women and young girls being affected by this decision. I also think about the women who are in rural communities who won't have any access at all. And some women, we know that women, even today in 2026, they are in relationships of power and control, and to get $75 for a doctor's consultation, to basically get a packet of pill that is maybe $10. So what used to cost that woman $10 could very well be $85.
The Ministry of Health has not yet indicated whether exemptions for contraceptives and medications for other chronic diseases will be considered, and plans to hold a press conference on Monday to provide clarity on the new regulations. But tonight, calls for more consultation and reconsideration are growing louder. Shane Williams reporting for News 5.
After the break, paradise may be slipping away in Placencia. Experts warn that rapid development is eating into the shoreline, raising new questions about how progress could be putting Belize's beaches at risk.
Hello, friends. I'm Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, "The elders which are among you I exhort, feed the flock of God which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind, neither as being lords over God's heritage, but being examples to the flock." After more than 24 years working with pastors and church leaders in Belize, I have become convinced that our greatest need is in the administrative realm. General Dwight D. Eisenhower used to demonstrate the art of leadership in a simple but forceful way. He would place a single piece of string on a table and say, "Pull it," and it follows wherever you want it to go. But push it, and it goes nowhere. This principle of leadership applies in the church as well as in the military. Autocratic, demanding, dictatorial pastors or leaders will sooner or later drive people away with their iron-handed tactics. People deserve to be treated with dignity and listened to. The Apostle Peter recognized this and wrote to the church leaders to shepherd the flock, not by compulsion, but willingly, not for dishonest gain, but eagerly, not as being lords over those who entrusted to you, but being examples of the flock. I have discovered that the pastor who loves his sheep, who leads his sheep, who leans on his sheep for wisdom and help, who learns from his sheep, who lifts his sheep and who laughs with his sheep will not only lead them to the water, but have the satisfaction of seeing them drink. Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
Insurance fact. Did you know with Home Protector Insurance, home and property insurance does not only cover hurricane and fire? Your lifetime investment will also be protected from explosions, water damage, malicious damage, and more. So you can rest easy knowing your home is protected. Visit any Home Protector Insurance office near you to learn more.
Connection isn't something you switch on. It's something you build together.
Connected through culture.
Culture isn't preserved in silence. It's kept alive through participation.
Connected through education.
Education doesn't always look like a classroom. Sometimes it looks like someone taking the time to teach and someone else choosing to learn.
Connected through sports.
Before the wins, before the applause, there's belonging. Here, young people learn more than how to play. They learn how to stand together.
Connected through community.
Community isn't a campaign, it's showing up. Not once, but every time it matters.
Connected through you.
Behind every connection is a person who cares. People who listen. People who stay. We don't just connect services, we connect you to your world.
Connected through every chapter.
SMART, bringing people together.
The Social Security Board's new whistleblower reporting system makes it easy and confidential to speak up by reporting misuse of the Social Security services and benefits, including fraud, misconduct, false claims, and more. If you know of any unethical or illegal activity relating to SSB benefits, claims, or personnel, go to ssbspeakup.integrityline.com or use our toll-free hotline 0800-SPEAK-UP, 0800-773-2587. This confidential reporting system is a way for you to report concerns or incidents privately without fear of reprisal. Your submission is confidential and anonymous. The Social Security Board is committed to providing a secure, confidential medium for whistleblowing that promotes organizational accountability and enhances public confidence in our services.
After years of uncertainty surrounding the former Stake Bank project, a rebranded development called Olo Caye is positioning itself as a fresh start for Belize's tourism future. Supporters say this time the focus is on long-term growth, creating jobs, attracting visitors, and giving Belizeans a bigger role in shaping the industry. The project blends a cruise port with a luxury resort experience and is being pitched as a way to keep Belize competitive with other Caribbean destinations while expanding opportunities for local businesses and workers. At the helm is veteran tourism executive Piero Di Battista, whose decades-long career includes helping turn Roatan, Honduras, into a major Caribbean tourism hub. Backers of Olo Caye pointed to the track record as proof that the team understands both large-scale cruise operations and the importance of environmental standards. The goal, they say, isn't just to bring more visitors, but to do it responsibly and with local communities at the center of the experience. That vision is already moving toward construction. Developers say work on a staging and operations site along the George Price Highway could begin within weeks, paving the way for island development planned for completion by 2028. The project includes new cruise and ferry piers, retail and dining areas showcasing Belizean culture, space for local entrepreneurs, and facilities designed to host international events. Beyond the infrastructure, the biggest selling point may be jobs. Olo Caye is expected to generate thousands of construction jobs and hundreds of permanent positions once operational, making it one of the most ambitious tourism investments currently on the table. For proponents, it represents a chance to reset the narrative around the site and to reimagine how tourism can work for Belize's economy and its people. The green light for the expansion of the Port of Belize is being framed by Prime Minister John Briceño as a turning point for the country's economic future. Following approval from the National Environmental Appraisal Committee with strict conditions attached, the Prime Minister says the decision clears the way for long-awaited investment in Belize's maritime sector. Dismissing claims of political interference, Briceño praised the process as transparent and professional and called the project a major boost for trade, tourism, and long-term national development. With plans for expanded cruise and container facilities, the port redevelopment is now being billed as a potential game changer for Belize's role in regional commerce.
I think it's a fantastic news. I think it's a game changer. That, as we all know, that the port has had a sordid history from way back in the early 2000s when they were attempting to be able to build a cruise port. And several groups have tried, and for different reasons they have not succeeded. I want to commend our government, our cabinet colleagues, because when I brought to them the idea of us buying over the port and for us to follow the process properly to ensure that we can get all the approvals and attract the right investors to build a cruise port and container port for Belize, that they had the courage to be able to give me the support for us to be able to do that. So it's a major undertaking. We took our time, we made sure that we have a good board of directors. We put up a public execution unit headed by Dr. Aguile Canton, people that know what they're doing. Made sure that we prepare a proper environmental plan. We had the advantage of seeing what went wrong in the previous one and to ensure that we could take those corrective measures to ensure that we can get the support. So we're very pleased, we're excited now about now moving forward and actually looking at signing up with partners to for the actual construction, the dredging and construction of the port.
What's your thoughts on suggestions that the government of Belize directed NEAC to vote in this direction?
You really want me to comment on something like that? It's obviously, it's nonsense. These people are highly qualified professionals, and I think that they did what they believe is right. And we've addressed most of the issues, and that is why when they gave the approval, they gave the approval, but with certain conditions that they want to add to the plan that was presented to them.
What would you say to any legal action brought by the Ashcroft or Waterloo Group or any port developer over this conditional approval?
Well, it's not a conditional approval. We got an approval, but there are certain conditions that they're going to add to it. So we got an approval, but I don't see no reason why any company would want to take any sort of legal actions. We follow the process.
They would rationalize for Waterloo, for example, that their project was denied some years back.
Well, we bought the company from Waterloo.
After nearly a year of review, the Department of the Environment has cleared the Port of Belize expansion project, but with firm conditions attached. Chief Environmental Officer Anthony Mai says the project triggered a full environmental impact assessment early on, reflecting its size and complexity. While regulators have now given the green light, the work isn't over. Developers must still finalize a detailed environmental compliance plan that locks them into measures to limit environmental harm and address real community concerns, including traffic, flooding, drainage, jobs, and public grievances.
So this project, basically, the process is still not ended because we're in the process of preparing the ECP, but the process really started almost a year ago, in May of 2025. And so we immediately know that new, I mean, we have to go through the screening process. The screening process is very determined if an EIA limited level study or no study is required. But knowing this project and the magnitude of it, the complexity of it, we knew, and we went through the screening process. We informed the developer that the EIA would be necessary, and we developed that in terms of reference for it in collaboration with the NIAC. We met on March 25th, deliberated, and the final recommendation was for us to grant clearance. The DOE had accepted the recommendation, and we have thus far informed the developers, and we have issued a press release informing the public of the decision. So the next process is to develop a comprehensive environmental compliance plan that will bind the proponents of this project to mitigation measures, the measures that would avoid, prevent, and mitigate all the potential negative environmental impacts. But there was a very critical discussion in the NIAC in relation to the socioeconomic issues as well. These issues relate to traffic management, flooding and its mitigation in terms of drainage, employment generation, support for entrepreneurship, establishment of grievance mechanism, etc.
So, while the Port of Belize expansion has the green light, regulators say developers still have plenty of homework ahead to address environmental safeguards and community impacts before construction moves forward. Prime Minister John Placencia moved quickly to address environmental concerns and clear up confusion about investor interest in the Port of Belize project. He said the government remains committed to minimizing environmental impacts and developing the project responsibly, even if full agreement proves impossible. Placencia also stressed that talks with international investors will only begin now that environmental approval is in place.
With the NGO community, you could never get their full support, and that's their right. We are going to address it, whatever it is that they believe that is being missed, but we're going to do the right thing. It is time for us to build a cruise port for Belize and a new container port, and we have to do it, but we have to do it right, protecting the environment as best as we can. If you build a house, you change your environment. So obviously there's going to be some effects, but what we need to do is to mitigate them, and to try to minimize them as best as we possibly can. And that is my commitment, and that's the commitment of our government, that we're going to do the best to mitigate the environmental issues, but to ensure that we can build a world-class port for the people of this country. Thank you very much.
The major investor.
Guys, we don't need to listen sometimes.
You did say
No. Let me repeat again. There are several groups that are interested in making this investment in Belize. SSA Marine is one of them. They are one of the largest port developers in the world. And what I said, that their parent company is BlackRock. That's all I said. But there are other groups like Global Port Holdings. I think they're out of Turkey. There's a group out of Mexico. There are different groups that want to come. But we could not and would not negotiate with anybody until we get the environmental clearance. Now that we got the environmental clearance, we have Nichols and Moffat, the same group that came up with the master plan. Now we're going to hire them to help us in setting up the terms of reference, so then to be able to negotiate with these different groups and to see who is going to give the best deal for Belize.
The Prime Minister says the Port of Belize project is moving forward with environmental safeguards in place, and that talks with potential investors will only begin now that the approval has been secured. Placencia's disappearing beaches are no accident. They're the price of progress. That was the sobering message environmental experts delivered to residents during a community meeting aimed at tackling the peninsula's growing erosion crisis. According to Chief Environmental Officer Anthony Mai, the Department of the Environment set up a special task force to dig into what's driving the problem and, more importantly, how to fix it before it's too late. The studies point squarely at development. Experts reveal that nearly 3/4 of Placencia's coastline, 72%, is already built up, and the outlook is even more troubling. If development continues at its current pace, the entire coastline could be developed by 2035. With that growth comes increased pressure on the shoreline, worsening erosion and putting both homes and beaches at risk.
The DOE established a task force to guide the implementation of a series of studies that would have been done along the Placencia Peninsula to identify the causes, considering that there's a lot of structures within the area. And last night was an opportunity for the expert to share with the community what the findings of the studies were, and also to propose to them some possible practical implementable solutions. And then the idea was to hear back from the community on those solutions, right? The professors and the expert informed that the biggest challenge in relation, or the biggest cause of erosion along the Placencia Peninsula is in relation to all the man-made structures that currently exist along the beach. They mentioned that currently, based on the trajectory of the development of the peninsula, 70% of the coast, 72% of the coastline is under some form of development. And the projection and the forecast is that by 2035, you will have 100% development along the coastline. So the expectation is that, again, it will get worse in terms of development, right, and the impact that development has on the coastline. And so they also come out to, they said of the 72% of development along the Placencia Peninsula, 70% has some form of erosion abatement structure along the coastline.
After sounding the alarm on how unchecked development is eating away at Placencia's coastline, environmental experts are now pointing to a solution that's closer and cheaper than many may expect. New scientific findings confirm that much of the sand lost to erosion hasn't disappeared at sea, but remains just offshore, opening the door for a practical beach nourishment approach that could help stabilize the peninsula's shrinking shoreline.
Again, so some of these things are local knowledge, we know them, but scientifically they are then confirmed that the sand that has been eroded from the Placencia coastline is really and truly right off near shore, right? And so it's within a 15-kilometer distance. And the professor was very keen on suggesting that the best approach currently and the cheapest approach is to keep the current structures. He's proposing to keep the current structures along the coastline and then recover them at the sand that is near coast and just reestablish or nourish the beach, right? So he believed that that's a very practical, environmentally safe, and economically feasible option. And that was what was presented to the community last night.
Experts say a simple fix may help Placencia's beaches by pulling sand that's still sitting just offshore and using it to rebuild a shoreline without costly new structures. Still ahead, Prime Minister John Brisenia steps forward to set the record straight on the future of CEO Amalia Mai and whether change is on the horizon.
The banking system in Belize continues to advance, and with it, the way we access foreign currency is transforming. Whether you're a business paying suppliers abroad or an individual paying for tuition, medical bills, or vacation, approvals to access foreign currency are now easier and can be done at an authorized dealer, your domestic bank. The Central Bank of Belize has expanded the Exchange Control Authority of domestic banks. Now, Atlantic Bank, Belize Bank, Heritage Bank, and the National Bank can approve and sell foreign currency requests up to 100,000 Belize dollars per transaction, all without prior central bank approval. That means no need to visit the central bank for approvals that are under 100,000 Belize dollars, saving you time, reducing delays, and making the process simpler. And in the case of traveling, you can now get up to the equivalent of 20,000 Belize dollars in foreign currency cash directly from your bank. While the central bank allows these limits, always check with your bank first to confirm availability. For all transactions, simply submit the required documents to your domestic bank. To learn more, contact your domestic bank Scan the QR code or visit centralbank.org.bz. The Central Bank of Belize, committed in service to the people of Belize.
Your time is valuable. That's why SARA is coming. A modern revenue authority built to make managing your taxes simpler, faster, and more convenient than ever before. With SARA, you can expect improved services, from quicker responses to queries to faster processing of your tax refunds. No long waits. Filing or paying your taxes? With SARA, you'll be able to do it securely online at any time, from anywhere, thanks to us placing a greater focus on digital convenience and secure digital records. The SARA will also commit to consistent and fair application of tax laws via a risk-based audit and compliance strategy and increased data-driven reforms. With SARA, most of your tax business will be handled online, saving you time to focus on what matters most: your business, your family, your life. And if you need in-person help, SARA will still have staff ready to assist you at all satellite offices countrywide. SARA, tax services made simpler, faster, and more convenient for you.
Forward-thinking farmer ready to adopt climate-smart practices? The future of farming is resilient, sustainable, and profitable, and we're here to help you achieve just that. Whether cultivating half an acre or 200 acres, DFC offers affordable financing options and a matching grant up to $12,000 for Window 1 and up to $60,000 for Window 2 to help make your farm climate-smart, withstand unpredictable weather patterns, and adapt practices that enhance productivity and efficiency. This program is ideal for farmers and cooperatives. Women farmers are highly encouraged to take advantage. Join us in creating a resilient and sustainable agricultural future for Belize. Apply now and take the next step towards a stronger, greener tomorrow.
A family in the Jane Usher Boulevard community woke up to every parent's worst nightmare today. An early morning search for a missing teenager ended in heartbreak when the body of an 18-year-old known to his loved ones as an animal lover and outdoorsman was discovered deep behind the Port of Belize area. Tonight, that family is grieving and demanding answers. News 5's Shane Williams was on the scene and brings us their call for justice.
Police say their investigation began just before 8 this morning after reports of a body found in a secluded area behind dikes in the Port of Belize area. When officers arrived, they discovered the motionless body of 18-year-old Jahil Westby, bearing multiple gunshot wounds. Westby, a young fisherman, had been reported missing just hours earlier. According to police, his mother visited the station this morning around 7 after he failed to return home last night.
My sister called me last night, and then she said that how she suspects that my nephew never reached home. Then my younger sister called me this morning, and then they said that how they discovered his body behind dikes where he went to fishing yesterday.
Jahil was last seen Thursday afternoon heading out to fish with a 16-year-old friend in an area he knew well. That familiarity is what makes his death even more difficult for family members to understand.
The area where he was found, is that somewhere where he would normally be?
But to be honest, he didn't know the area to fishing because he loved fishing, like what I mentioned, anything what he got to do, animals he loved. You know, he used to go back there from he like 7. You know, now he's 19, he's known to that area, so it really comes shock to us, you know, why they will do something like that to our nephew.
Described as hardworking and full of ambition, Westman's family says he had dreams of one day owning a farm, driven by his love for animals and nature.
He's a loving person, hardworking, he loves animals, he loves fishing, he loves to catch crocodiles, you know, he always said that he want to own a farm. Because that is what he loved. Every day he'd go fishing, you know, and then he was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Tonight, investigators are working to determine what led to the fatal shooting and who is responsible. But for this grieving family, the focus is now on justice.
We're hoping for justice because we need justice for our nephew because he never deserved that. Ever. Well, no one deserved that, but also my nephew, he doesn't deserve that.
Police say their investigation remains ongoing, and while the family are still searching for answers, they believe it may have been retaliation for a feud over horses. Jahil's horse Creamer was recently stolen, and he went to recover his beloved pet. While police have not confirmed that angle, they expect to find out more information from his 16-year-old friend who he left to fish with behind the dikes. Shane Williams reporting for News 5.
With speculation mounting about changes at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Prime Minister John Briceño is moving to set the record straight on the future of Chief Executive Officer Amalia Mai. With her one-year contract set to expire, the Prime Minister says this is not a dismissal, but a carefully discussed transition. He explains that both Minister Francis Fonseca and CEO Mai agreed that the timing might be right for new leadership at the ministry. Briceño also underscored Mai's value to the country, making it clear that government plans to continue tapping into her expertise in another role. In fact, reports suggest that Mai could soon take up an overseas diplomatic posting, keeping her service to Belize firmly on the international stage.
The Office of the Prime Minister is not moving Amalia Mai from as CEO. Amalia Mai asked for a one-year contract. She had a one-year contract. In February, she gave me a letter saying that she would not renew her contract. The Prime Minister, CEOs are named by the Prime Ministers, but obviously has to do in consultations with their respective ministers. And in this instance, I think there's a mutual understanding between the CEO and the minister. That probably CEO Mai wanting another challenge, something else different. She's been doing this for the past 5 years, and the minister's feeling that okay, this is an ample opportunity to be able to bring in a new CEO and to either continue with what's going well, because there's a lot of good work we've been doing in the ministry, and if there's any adjustments that we can do, this is a perfect opportunity to do so.
Have you identified an ambassadorial post for Amalia?
It's not about identifying. Amalia is, I think, one of among our best diplomats that we have in Belize, and we're working on how we're going to use her. We want to use Amalia, but also I'm talking with Minister Fonseca for us to be able to sit down to decide on who he believes will be the best person to take over from Amalia.
So she'll get an ambassadorial post.
And then once that is done, then we could decide where we're going to put Amalia Mai, but we will use Amalia's talent.
Drivers across the country felt the squeeze again at the pumps this week. Monday brought yet another fuel price hike, Belize's third increase in just a matter of weeks, and for many motorists, it's hitting hard. But Prime Minister John Briceño says government is already cushioning the blow, absorbing tens of millions of dollars in lost revenue by cutting fuel taxes. He insists consumers are not paying the full cost of these increases, even as global fuel prices continue to climb.
As to fuel, we have been cutting the taxes already. We are giving up about $60 million already. 60, that's what I said, 60 million in the house. I think what happened, because now we just gave up now on gasoline. on premium. Yeah, we just give up some taxes on the premium. We're not giving the entire increases to the public. We're being cut inside. I believe that now that just happened, was it this week? Sunday. So I think that when you include that, probably it'll be close to $80 million. Remember, $200 million, we're getting $200 million from excise taxes on fuel. And so it is a big lick. It's hurting us. I had the Ministry of Finance prepare a cabinet paper to our colleagues, so our colleagues could also, they know, but I want to make sure that they understand, guys, we will need to look how we're going to spend. We need to see where we can curtail spending. We need to be able to, especially do the carpooling with government employees, whereby, instead of they're up and down, if they could carpool to be able to reduce the fuel. We already have a system in place whereby we chuck your vehicle, and after hours we shut it down if possible. That already is saving us a few $1 million. So we need to look in every which way where we can curtail. If there are certain areas in Capital 2 spending that we can hold back, at least until we know what's going to happen, then we will do so.
Prime Minister John Briceño is weighing in on the controversy sparked by a mass sick-out by immigration officers at the country's busiest western border during the Easter rush. As many as a dozen officers called in sick at the same time, prompting an investigation by the Ministry of Immigration and administrative action against several staffers. Government officials suspect the move may have been coordinated industrial action. The Public Service Union disagrees, defending the officers and insists they followed sick leave rules while warning the government it could face legal action. Today, Briceño pushed back, criticizing union leaders and calling for a more cooperative way to settle public service disputes.
I wish the president of the Public Service Union would have a different approach with government. Everybody know that he is a UDP, and that's okay, and I support that. But he should set that aside and to be able to work with the government to address some of these issues. It's you question when all of a sudden 8 or 10 officers get sick at the same time. I mean, it can't be that all of them get sick all at the same time. There's something must be behind it. And then for them to be able to get some of these doctor papers, I've not seen the papers, and there's the allegation some may be fraudulent, I do not know. But I believe that as a government, we need to take action to ensure that this kind of behavior is actually illegal, that they just can't walk away and say, oh, I'm sick because I don't like something. They need to be able to sit down with their supervisors and even to the CEO or the minister to be able to say, well, these are the concerns that we have. And it's unfortunate that the public service president, instead of him giving an example or to be able to talk to his members to say, this is not the way to behave, this is not how we address issues, we sit down and talk, then he tends to want to tolerate them. And it's really unfortunate, and I wish we could be able to work closer together in the interest of the public service.
Prime Minister John Briceño is standing firmly behind Dr. Carla Barnett as calls emerge for a change in leadership at the CARICOM Secretariat. The Prime Minister has voiced his full support for her reappointment as CARICOM Secretary General, describing her as highly qualified and deserving of continued confidence. His remarks come after the Prime Minister of Trinidad publicly expressed her objections to the decision. Trinidad's government claims that it was disinvited from the discussions that led to the reappointment.
Well, it is unfortunate that Trinidad has taken such a public position on trying to remove Carla Barnett. I want to make it very clear that Carla Barnett is a Belizean, a highly qualified Belizean, and that she continues to have the support of Belize. And I know some people might say, oh, but she may be from the opposition or was a member of the UDP at one time. We could have, like I tell everyone, we may have our differences here in Belize, but outside of Belize, we're Belizeans, and we stand by one another. And I do believe that she has done a good job. There's always scope for improvement, but that should come from us heads. The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago chose not to attend the conference of the heads where all the heads meet. And when she did not go, we gave an opportunity. The chairman, Prime Minister Drew from St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, from St. Kitts and Nevis, made an attempt to invite the foreign minister to represent, but he said that he could not go because he gets seasick. It was like a 5-minute boat ride. They chose not to attend. And so today we're going to have a meeting to discuss that, and I'm hoping that we can find an amicable solution to this matter.
Despite objections from Trinidad and Tobago, Prime Minister John Placencia says Belize stands firmly behind Dr. Carla Barnett, urging CARICOM leaders to resolve the dispute amicably and maintain unity within the regional bloc. Up next, after 7 years at the helm, John Mencia steps away from BEL, leaving behind a stronger, smarter utility and setting the stage for the next chapter in the company's transformation.
Smart for everybody. Smart leading everything. Smart give you everything. Smart offer everything. Smart give you everything. North to the east and the south and the west. Smart are the best. Darling, double up my data and give me all the text. In fact, give me a plan for my family. Unlimited calls, so me like it. And smart make everybody feel happy. Bringing people together, me want it now. Smart got love for everybody. Me want my smart plan, want it right now. Me want my smart plan, want it right now. More bundles, data plan, me want my smartphone, internet in my hand. Cause me want my smart plan, want it right now. Smart, stay connected, stay happy.
Watch The Truth of God with Pastor Gino Jennings of the First Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. exclusively on Greater Belize Media. The Truth of God with Pastor Gino Jennings every Sunday at 8 a.m. on Greater Belize Media.
While bus operators press government for relief, the Transport Ministry is pressing pause. Minister of Transport Dr. Louis Zabane says Cabinet has taken note of the Belize Bus Association's appeal but is not ready to act just yet. The association has asked government to step in, warning that rising diesel prices are driving up operation costs and could eventually affect public transportation services. But Zabane says officials are keeping a close eye on global fuel prices trends before making any decisions, signaling a wait-and-see approach as costs continue to fluctuate.
Reported back to them the decision of Cabinet, which is that Cabinet is observing the world prices for fuel, and over the next few weeks we'll see how the trend goes. Like the rest of the world, we're hopeful that it will stabilize and prices will return to some lower levels as were a few months ago. In the event that we don't have that kind of trend, downward trend, then Cabinet is prepared to reconsider the request. But at this point in time, asking the BBA to allow for a few more weeks to transpire so we could observe the trend of prices, world prices.
The association says it will hold an emergency meeting with its members to discuss the way forward. When John Mencius stepped in as CEO of Belize Electricity Limited in 2019, the company faced aging infrastructure and growing demand. 7 years later, he leaves behind a transformed utility. Under his leadership, BEL modernized its system, strengthened the national grid, and improved reliability across the country. He also changed how BEL serves its customers, rolling out digital tools and service upgrades that made interactions faster and easier. Inside the company, Mencius focused on people, encouraging innovation, investing in talent, and building a stronger workplace culture. The result was a utility more connected to its customers, employees, and national development. As Mencius exits with gratitude, BEL now looks ahead with Ambassador Lin Young returning as executive chairman, bringing experience, stability, and continuity to a transformation already well underway. Ahead of critical local elections, 16 elections and boundaries officers are now better equipped to safeguard Belize's democratic process. The officers completed an intensive university-led training program focused on electoral law, integrity, and on-the-ground election management.
The successful completion of the Elections and Boundaries Certificate Program, which aimed to ensure that officers in the Elections and Boundaries Department are equipped with the necessary skills and knowledge to uphold the democratic process and maintain public trust in the electoral system. These certificates issued today affirm that the successful participants have the attributes, skills, and knowledge and professionalism to manage and oversee the election processes and maintain the integrity of electoral boundaries and effectively serve the public.
Today we recognize all registering officers and assistant registering officers who undertook this course of study. I understand the demands of your daily responsibilities, and I commend the effort required to complete this program while continuing your work across the country. Your ability to carry this through reflects the same discipline and focus that define your work within the department.
This experience has also reminded us the value of continuous learning and self-improvement. It has challenged us to think critically, adapt to change, and strive for excellence in everything we do.
With elections approaching, officials say newly certified elections and boundaries officers are better prepared to serve the public and protect the integrity of Belize's democratic process. The Keycaulker Village Council is pushing back against any proposed sale or transfer of a key piece of land currently designated for police use on the island. In a strongly worded release issued today, the council says it unequivocally rejects any attempt to sell, lease, or otherwise divest parcel 815, describing it as critical communal land essential for public safety and security. The council also raised concerns about what it calls a complete lack of consultation, noting that neither local leaders nor residents were engaged in any discussion surrounding the property. According to the village council, the parcel sits near a community basketball court and shared public space, and any transfer could negatively impact youth engagement, emergency response, and overall community life. The council is now demanding a halt to any ongoing processes, full disclosure from central government, and meaningful consultation before any decisions are made. And while concerns are being raised about a potential sale, our land registry search shows that, as of today, parcel 815 remains under the ownership of the Belize Police Department. We are also reliably informed that the Village Council has begun the process of applying for permission to stage a protest. The council said it is prepared to take legal and administrative action to ensure the land remains in public hands. They have scheduled a community meeting to discuss their own next course of action with residents for 6:30 tomorrow evening. There's more news after the break, so please stay tuned.
Every connection we make is more than just a signal. It's a student unlocking a future through digital education. A young mind daring to dream bigger. Our culture shared with the world in real time. And everyday heroes answering the call of civic duty. When we connect with Digi, we empower Belize.
Look here, your kitchen light there, and you've been in the kitchen. Mama going back in there right now. And the coffee maker?
Just to try to keep my coffee warm for later.
What do you do now?
I'll try to think more to eat.
You know, the more you open or close the fridge, it takes longer for the food cool. For a hot day like today, it burns more energy. You recharge your phone right now?
No.
Plug it out then. You really only wash 2 Lee socks and 1 Lee shirt? You don't know what small load burn the same amount of electricity as large loads?
But this is my favorite shirt.
You have to be more energy efficient. Use large loads. This AC they blow hard. You know, if you keep the temperature at 25 degrees Celsius or higher, you burn less energy and you also keep the place cool. And for a nice day like today, turn off the AC, open up the house and make some fresh breeze come in.
You know what? I think I get it now. As consumers, we need to be more energy efficient and practice energy conservation.
What happens when you step off the edge?
Too late to back out now. He said I'm ready. No, I'm not.
And land somewhere unexpected. Sometimes it breaks you open. Wild at root?
That is very bitter.
But sweet on the tongue. Where history calls out, and you answer with open arms. This isn't just a journey. It's across borders.
That was amazing!
The future is calling. Belize Bank. Your future, our commitment.
Connection isn't something you switch on. It's something you build together.
Connected through culture.
Culture isn't preserved in silence. It's kept alive through participation.
Connected through education.
Education doesn't always look like a classroom. Sometimes it looks like someone taking the time to teach and someone else choosing to learn.
Connected through sports.
Before the wins, before the applause, there's belonging. Here, young people learn more than how to play. They learn how to stand together.
Connected through community.
Community isn't a campaign, it's showing up. Not once, but every time it matters.
Connected through you.
Behind every connection is a person who cares. People who listen. People who stay. We don't just connect services, we connect you to your world.
Connected through every chapter.
SMART, bringing people together.
This weekend, a message of peace and unity is taking center stage in Belize. The Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat is once again opening its doors to the wider community with its 11th annual Jalsa Salana, a religious convention focused on understanding and togetherness. What started just over a decade ago as a modest gathering has grown into the country's largest Islamic conference, welcoming Belizeans of all faiths to listen, learn, and connect.
Islam Ahmadiyya! Zindabad! Ghulam Ahmad Ki!
For the 11th consecutive year, members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat gathered in Belize City for Jalsa Salana. It is a spiritual conference that promotes faith, fellowship, and dialogue. Originally introduced in Belize in 2015, the event has grown significantly. According to the community, what started with just a few dozen participants now attracts hundreds of Belizeans from all walks of life.
You should appreciate that this Jalsa Salana for which you have gathered once again is not a place for materialistic gains or recreation. Rather, your purpose is to partake of its spiritual atmosphere for the sake of your moral reformation. This unique gathering offers you the opportunity to purify your hearts and minds and to improve your spiritual and moral condition.
Jalsa Salana is not solely a religious observance, but an outreach initiative aimed at correcting misconceptions about Islam and highlighting the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat's guiding principles. Through the years, politicians have made attending the event a priority. This year was no different.
I believe that the Ahmadiyya community, they're doing a really good job in Belize, apart from the religion, that they're constantly reaching out to especially our young people and to the needy. And we need more of that we can have organizations, be it religious or not, that can reach out. The Ahmadiyya group in Belize is a great example of a religious group that is, whilst they are preaching their religion, the Islam religion, but it's not something that they're pushing. They're reaching out to young people and to others to show that there's always another way.
I want to commend the Ahmadiyya group for their continued work with the youths in the basketball tournaments. My team has won 3 of those tournaments, by the way. A young group that I have, and they continue to win. But I really want to extend congratulations to the Ahmadiyya for the great work that you continue to do in Belize City in changing lives.
The multi-day conference features educational lectures, interfaith discussions, exhibitions on Islamic history, and family-oriented activities, including sessions specifically designed for women and youth. Organizers say the 11th observance builds on the success of the 10th anniversary celebration held last year, which emphasized Islam as a religion grounded in peace and service to humanity.
The promised Messiah, may peace be upon him, has stated as follows: "Do not consider this gathering to be the same as the like of any other worldly gathering, ordinary worldly gathering. Rather, the case of this is such that it is founded upon the pure support of truth and the propagation of Islam. The foundation stone of this community has been laid by Allah, the Almighty Himself."
As the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat marks 11 years of hosting Jalsa Salana in Belize, the message remains consistent: unity through understanding and peace through respect. Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
Easter break in Belize isn't all rest and relaxation. For hundreds of young athletes, it's time to put in work on the basketball court. Now in its 18th year, the Belize Rose Classic Youth Basketball Camp continues to bring together players from across the country. Led by Belizean American Cleon Hyde, the camp has grown from a small effort to keep kids off the streets into a national development program built on discipline, teamwork, and mentorship. With support from Nike, participants receive gear and structured training designed to build both skills and character. News 5 spoke with Hyde about why he keeps coming back and what this year's camp means for Belize's next generation of ballers.
I'm celebrating my 18th year in Belize, and what we're doing a showcase of high school boys and girls, and we had a nice turnout of over 100 kids, and so far today we're closing out our session, and so far it's been going pretty good, I must say. It's happy to see the results of what's going on with so many kids.
Tell us about why this is important for you. You keep coming back every year.
Well, I mean, I started out, like I said, as a test run, and the first one was successful, so it became easy because it's a passion. It's not something I'm doing for like money or nothing like that. Have a good relationship with all the kids, and I'm talking about from 2007. The likes of Devin Daly. He was one of my main players, Coupe Lopez, Sherwin Garcia, all these guys that are now doing great things for themselves, So it gives me that pleasure to know that I made an impact in their life for so many years doing basketball. Every kid is fully uniformed, you get the top and your bottoms, and for the awards, the winning team, you get a t-shirt, you get a cap, you get a medal.
Before we leave you, here's tonight's viewer's voice. On our first story, Women's Health, Contraceptive Access Caught in Policy Crossfire, Brack commented, "It's fair for leaders to speak about protecting rights and improving healthcare, but consistency matters. If the government wants to take a strong position on access to medicine or women's health, then it should also be open to honest public discussion. Belizeans deserve transparency." I 1000% agree. Turning to Keekawker, preparing to protest rumored sale of police station land, John Swazo shared. The Keekawker Village Council need to call a village meeting in order to inform and furthermore educate the residents referencing the land issue. And finally, in digital news, BEL proposes monthly cost adjustments, Giovanni Berry shared. It would be nice if solar startup would be cheaper so that more people could stay off the grid. I'm definitely one of those people. Thank you for engaging with us online. Your voices shape the national conversation. Keep those comments coming and we'll continue to feature them right here. And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available at greaterbelize.com, on our Facebook and on YouTube. I'm Jamie Rock. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, have a happy and safe weekend. Good night.